All right, and the computer says we are live, and this is Noodle Free Mondays, our Monday show where we bring up topics about crazy people out there in the world, discuss why they're so nutty, and then give our unprofessional psychological opinion on who and what they are. I'm looking around the logo. Something like that logo. Anyway, our noodle of the week this week is Larry Elder, who just had a great interview on the Breakfast Club. So we're going to discuss the things he talked about later on in the show and discuss why he is a bit of a noodle, even though people think that Larry Elder did a great job. He did not. He did the same stuff people have been doing for the last 30 years. But I always start my show with some entertainment, some warm-up time, excuse me, some videos. And this is from my Skit Bags crew. We rock it out. You see it right there. And it's one of the videos we made before we kind of slow down our production process, shall I say. And check it out while we get ready for the show.
I'm here with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has very nicely agreed to do an interview with us radio folks today, even though this is a TV interview, and we're very happy to have him. Thank you very much, Mr. Trump. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
My first question has to do with Governor Chris Christie. What role would Chris Christie, now that he is head of your transition team, be in your administration?
Well, that's a very good question. I like Chris Christie very much. He's a very good friend of mine, and we're very close. We hang out a lot. And to be honest, I don't think Chris Christie is a politician. I don't think he's a very good one. I don't think he should be in politics. I should think he'd be a great chef. He'd be a wonderful chef. He actually looks like he should be on a front of a pizza box.
But he's in charge of your transition team.
Yes, he is, but I don't think he really should be. I mean, Mike Pence made that decision, not me. But if it was up to me, I'd put him on the front of a DiGiorno's pizza box, give him a mustache, like one of those big, silly Italian mustaches. And then when he comes into the White House, of course, there'd be a job for him somewhere, probably in the kitchen, in all honesty.
What if he wouldn't take that job in the kitchen?
I would forcibly give him the job. He would have no choice. We got him right here. Let's ask him. How would I employ you? Come here. Come here. How would I employ you? Chris, how would I employ you in the administration? He doesn't like being picked up, Chris Christie. He's very independent.
I think he is very independent.
Very independent.
Yes.
He is. I like him very much, though. He's very cute.
Can you tell us a little bit about the role that Mike Pence would play in your administration?
Of course, Mike Pence is a fabulous person. I like him very much. Obviously, I made him my vice president. Should I get into the White House? And I think Mike Pence will just do normal vice president things, hang around in the Oval Office, hang out with all the people that come through there, get coffees and teas for everyone, strudels, pastries, breakfast muffins, those sort of things. I don't know if he knows how to make espresso yet. I don't know if he's been trained, but I'm going to make sure that previous to being in the White House that he is trained, because I personally like a macchiato in the morning. Macchiato, I'm not sure if you know what that is, but a macchiato it's a delicious shot with just a little foam on the top, and I like it very much. And if you could do that, learn to do that, it'd be very nice.
But you want a vice president to be making you macchiatos?
Well, preferably. I don't know what else he's going to do there.
Some people believe that Mike Pence is more anti-gay than you are. Why would you choose somebody who was so anti-gay?
That's a very good question. And the thing is with anti-gay is anti-gay marriage. You see, I love the gays. I don't want them to get married, though. I love the gays. The gays love me, in all honesty. But I don't think they need to get married. To be honest, I don't know why they need to do that. The gay culture has always been somewhat of a rebellion, and I don't see the need to now have a white picket fence and get married like the rest of us. I've been married many times, and if I was to give any advice to any gay person, it'd be like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, well, speaking of marriage, you're now on your third marriage, and Laura Bush really supported literacy when she was first lady. Michelle Obama, childhood obesity. Do you know what your wife would make as her signature issue if she was first lady of the United States of America?
I think Melania, a great signature issue that she could have is a great pair of tits.
Excuse me?
A great pair of tits.
But what would that do for America?
Well, what can a great pair of tits not do for America?
Well, how is that going to help poor people or young children growing up?
Well, give them something to look up to and aspire to, and For a young man, he'll be like, I want that in my life, somewhat of a model mentor wife figure. And for women, that is what an ideal pair of tits looks like. And they will know that.
So if she was first lady, she would be promoting great pairs of tits.
Great pairs of tits, really great ones.
Okay. Wow. This is really quite a surprising interview, Mr. Trump.
You're welcome.
Can you also say, I mean, you say now your wife would be promoting a great pair of tits. What role would the rest of your family have, your sons, et cetera? They've been very active in your campaign once you reach the White House.
That's a very good question. And thank you very much for asking it. You're doing a wonderful job. My family are wonderful. It's going to be fabulous to have them in the White House should I get there. And there's going to be many great jobs for them. Donald Jr., I think, would make a great Secretary of State. I think he'd be great for that job. Eric, doesn't quite have the brains of Donald. I'd maybe make him in charge of special needs kids in the United States.
But let me just stop you for a second. Since JFK's promoted RFK to be the Attorney General, I think it's not legal anymore to have your relative have a cabinet secretary job.
No, we'll see about that. We'll talk to lawyers and see what we can do. There's got to be a way to get him in there. But either way, once he's a part of that, Eric, I think, would be excellent as head of education for special needs children. He's not so smart, Eric. He's a little bit slow. He's a very sweet man, but he's a little bit slow. But it'd be great, that kind of job, because it's not too hard. You're just kind of deciding what they're going to color in for the next week or the next year.
Does Eric know that you think he's slow?
Well, I wouldn't say that to his face.
You're saying it to the world.
That's a very good point. Hopefully he's probably not. He doesn't watch the news. But he's very sweet. We're going to have lots of pets there for him in the White House, lots of dogs. He loves dogs. He's great. He plays with all the pets. He goes around. You just can't give him a gun. You give him a gun, it's all over. He loves guns. It's not good. But don't give him any guns. He's very sweet, though.
What would he do with a gun?
Well, he might shoot the dogs. The White House dogs. And we're going to have many dogs there for him to play with, but just no guns for Eric.
We'll be talking more about your pets in just a minute. Mr. Trump, what's the biggest charitable donation that you've actually given?
Oh, that's very hard. That's very hard because I've given so many. And I've given some very, very big ones. Very big ones. For all the cancers and the retards and the spastics.
Retards and spastics?
Yes. And the poor people charities that I give money to. I've given many big amounts to the charities. But I think my biggest charity, when I come to think of it, is my very presence.
Are you aware that we don't use words like retards anymore?
And this is part of my campaign. I am so against this political correctness, this whole PC thing. This is why my campaign is so on fire and it's reaching so many people, is because we're done with the PC. We're done with the political correctness. PC, and I joke to my friends, PC, pussy cunts. That's what it is. And I'm done with it. We're all done with it. Mike Pence, me, Chris Christie, we're all done with it.
But developmentally disabled people are entitled to vote in this country.
And I hope that they do, for me. Because what do they got to lose? They're like the African Americans. What do they got to lose? They got nothing to lose. I would do such great things for them. I would put my son in charge of what they color in for the next couple of years. The educations.
Color in?
Well, yeah, coloring in, stencils and all that, special needs and what they do. They said, love to color in. That's what I heard.
Okay. Mr. Trump, this is a much more personal question, but we asked a lot of our radio listeners to tell us what they wanted to know. And they wanted to know who does your hair. Do you travel with a stylist and used to share the same stylist as your wife?
Yes, of course, I travel with a stylist. I need a hairstylist. It's one of the things that I need. I got an African-American girl who does it, whose name is not coming. Let's just call her my African-American. She's fabulous. But of course, me and my wife can't share one because, well, that's a lot of hair to do in a short period of time. We can't have that. But my stylist is wonderful. I take her everywhere with me. It can be a little bit inconvenient because I'm in a lot of cars and planes, but it's fine because she folds right up and you can just put her in your carry-on.
Excuse me. Why is it relevant that she's African American?
Well, it's relevant because, that's the only defining feature of her other than she's a woman. And I just don't know her name, to be honest with you.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Trump. Have you ever lied? And if so, when was that?
No, I have never lied. Lying is not part of my character. It never has been. I'll tell you, a lot of my friends in high school, they used to give me a nickname because I was so truthful. I mean, I got a lot of nicknames in high school. I was, tumultuous Trump, very tall Trump. They call me talkative Trump, big titty Trump because I love the big titties. Uh, Titty Trump, big titty Trump, double D titty Trump, big Dicky Donnie, sticky Dicky Donnie. And then they called me truthful Trump because, you know, I was so truthful that was my nickname.
Now, we all have our makeup done before we go on air.
Sure.
And
yours is great, by the way.
Well, thank
It's
you.
beautiful.
And I thank the makeup artists for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've noticed is that a lot of these millennials have tattoos. What do you think of tattoos?
It's a very good question because I've asked this of myself many times. I don't know how I feel about tattoos. Sometimes I see a woman walking down the street with a beautiful back full of tattoos and I'm, aroused. But there are other times that I see tattoos where I find them kind of, what do you think of tattoos?
Tattoos arouse you?
Well, sometimes, yeah. Well, what do you disagree?
Oh, I'm a first generation American Jewish woman.
Oh.
I don't do tattoos.
So it's against your religion to wear a tattoo?
It's against everything.
Oh, it's a great shame because you'd look great with a nice leg one right here.
Yeah, maybe it would cover up how fat my legs are.
I'd still appreciate it.
Yeah, that would be nice. So there's been a lot of talk that if you don't become president, there'll be a Trump TV network. And if you do become president, that there will be a Trump TV network run by your children. Do you think it would be successful? And what do you think a Trump TV network would compose of?
Absolutely. I think a Trump TV network would be extremely successful. People love to see me do what I do. They love to follow me around. They love to see my kids do what they do. They love to see me, go to the bathroom, go and get my hair done. They love to watch me do everything. People just are fascinated by me. They're very entertained by me. And I think of that David Beckham thing that Nike did where he fell asleep and they filmed him falling asleep. And I think, they could do that with me, but I don't think Ivanka would approve.
And if you're president of the United States, you can't.
Sorry, not Ivanka, Melania, excuse me.
If you're president of the United States, you can't do Trump TV other than giving to everybody else in the press room. So what would you do if you're president of the United States with Trump TV?
If I was president of the United States with Trump TV, well, they just follow me around, watch me do president stuff, make big decisions, bomb people. They would be right. I mean, it'd be great television. It'd be right in the decision room,
Bomb people?
Well, yeah, different countries, different annoying people, different people. When the big decisions come in, like Mr. Trump, should we shoot these people? Do you want us to bomb them? And I'd be sitting there, and you could, the music would come through. This great music. I'd have a great, Hans Zimmer type soundtrack on me, close up, and I would be just thinking, do I drop the bomb? Do I do it? And this is reality TV in actual time. That's great. People would want to watch that. People would want to watch that. So absolutely, if I'm president, Trump TV would definitely be happening.
Well, what would you do with the other members of the press corps?
They'd be out of a job. Frankly, I wouldn't care. I don't like the press. I don't like them. The way they treat me, the way they talk. You've said some very mean things about me in the past. And, I forgive you. It's nice to sit down with you, to be honest. But, the press, as far as I'm concerned, if they lose their jobs, fine. They'd make great landscapers. They could mow lawns.
I couldn't mow a lawn.
You have the stature of a lawnmower.
I think the lawnmower is too big for me.
I've seen Mexicans your size push a lawnmower pretty damn well.
But speaking of Trump TV and other media, what role would Howard Stern play in your administration? Would you make him head of the FCC?
No. Howard Stern, it's funny. Howard Stern is a very good friend of mine. I like him very much. We like to talk on the phone and talk about sexy things. I've been on his show a number of times, talk about women and, naughty issues. What I love about Howard Stern is, and the only thing I can think that he could possibly play in my administration is a human microphone because of his curly hair. He's just got that great head of hair and it looks like a microphone. And I would just walk around with him and tap him on the head and say, hey, is this thing on?
That's what you would do with Howard Stern.
That's what I would do with him. I can't think of anything else to do with him.
Okay. That's very interesting, Mr. Trump. Did you dance with Hillary Clinton at your wedding?
I did. I did. In all honesty, she's not a very good dancer. I mean, she's a very sweet woman, but she was very drunk. And that, to be honest, that's how she got her nickname, Crooked Hillary. It's not because of the lies and the emails and the horrible policies and the Wall Street speeches that she does for so much money, quite frankly. It's not because of that. It's because of how she danced with me in my wedding. She was crooked. She was falling all over. I was dancing the pachanga with her. I was doing a fabulous job. But she can't dance, quite frankly.
Did you ask her to dance?
I did. I asked her to dance. I mean, well, it was a mutual agreement that kind of happened with our bodies, as sometimes happens on dance floors. And when the pachanga music came on, it was just this magic.
So it was a magical dance?
It was a magical moment when we started the dance, and then we started the dance. She got very crooked, started falling over on me. Lucky I'm a very strong man, got a great upper body strength. I held her upright and I danced the pachanga with her.
Now, speaking of dancing, if
Mm.
you do not win for president of the United States, will you be on Dancing with the Stars? Would you agree to go on that?
You know, I have a lot of plans for if I'm not president of the United States. I don't know about going on Dancing with the Stars. I have thought about maybe going and applying for the head of the UN. I think I could do that job. I've seen that Kofi Annan guy. He just basically impersonates Morgan Freeman. I think I could easily do that
He
job.
hasn't been there for a long time.
Well, you know, but when he was there, I
You're
mean,
Mr. Ban Ki-moon now.
well, yes, but neither was Morgan Freeman. Hasn't been around for a long time. They kind of had their heyday at the same time. Morgan Freeman was doing Shawshank Redemption, and Kofi Annan was in there. He was doing a great job, but Kofi Annan was definitely impersonating Morgan Freeman the entire time. Yeah, and then Hanky Moon. What's his name?
Ban Ki-moon.
Ban Ki-moon. Ban Ki-moon. He shouldn't tell people that. That's a very embarrassing name, Ban Ki-moon. But
Mr. Ban is what they call him in South Korea.
Mr. Ban,
Yeah.
that sounds delicious, Mr. Ban. If I don't get to be the head of the UN, I would start my own religion. I think that would be fabulous. Starting my own religion, you know, helping cure people of traumas, you know, creating a way to communicate properly. I would set up a
Starting
full.
their own religion has already been done by L. Ron Hubbard when he started Scientology.
Yeah, but he didn't pull it off as well as I think I could. I would start a whole story that the universe has been in existence for trillions of years and that we're fighting this evil overlord named Xenu. It's a top of the line idea. Please don't steal it.
I have other things to do, Mr. Trump. What pets, you talked earlier that you would have lots of dogs in the White House, that you're afraid your son might shoot the dogs.
Mhm.
What pets would you bring into the White House?
All pets. I love pets. I love all types of animals, all types. Let them all in. That's what I say.
Like, can you be more specific?
Well, gerbils, goldfish, dogs, cats, pigs, horses, donkeys, the miniature horses, Shetland ponies, gorillas, monkeys of all types.
Gorillas on the White House lawn?
Sure. Gorillas, monkeys, all the African types, the lions, the tigers, the bears. Oh my.
Who would keep all of these animals for you?
Well, Eric, he loves it.
Now, there has been a tradition. The American Turkey Growers has asked the president to pardon one turkey and a backup turkey every year at the White House. Would you continue to pardon the turkey?
Would I continue to pardon the turkeys? I think I would continue to pardon the turkeys. You know, it's a very big country. It's in a very difficult spot where it is because, you know, it's right in the middle of all the Islams, really. And I think they could use some help. And I'm going to pardon the turkeys because, you know, they're an Islam's nation, but they're also kind of secular, but they're not two Islams. So I think we pardon them.
I was talking about the bird, not the country.
Well, let's pardon all of them. Pardon the turkeys of all types, the country and the bird.
Okay. My last set of questions has to do with what is going on in ISIS. And since you brought up Turkey, the country, as opposed to Turkey, the bird, the question is, the Syrian army has now been backed, it looks like Russia, perhaps Iranian militias, in terms of the siege of Turkey. And what 4 specific steps might you take when you have almost 250,000 people at risk right now to save those people in Syria?
4 specific steps.
Yes.
How long have I got?
As long as you need.
Okay.
Our last question.
Let's say I've got an hour. My first step of the 4, I would take a shower to think, because it helps me, it clears my mind. My second step, I would make a cup of tea, Earl Grey, with a little bit of milk and some honey. My third step would be to drink. The second step was to make the tea. The third step would be to drink the tea. The fourth step in solving this horrible crisis would be to call somebody who knows what to do. Maybe Colon Powell. I call him Colon on purpose because he's a colon. He's the last step of digestion before you do a poo.
I do have one more question for you before I ask you for your final thoughts, Mr. Trump. Why do you think ISIS is so appealing to these young people?
You know, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it as an appeal. They've got those big beards and they ride around in cars and they shoot stupidly in the air and they wave those stupid flags and wear the funny hats. And they're so ugly. Who would want to be part of a group that is so ugly? And I don't understand the appeal at all. I don't understand why young people would want to go, and join these idiots. And so it is my plan to do away with the appeal by being myself a mentor for young people. Is like, that's what you could be if you work really hard. It's very hurtful because they talk so much about ISIS and it puts into people's heads, why does he hate ISIS so much? Maybe we should be nicer to ISIS. Mr. Trump is so mean to ISIS. And I heard somebody say the other day, it's very hurtful. They said, ISIS is to Islam what Donald Trump is to Western civilization.
That's quite a statement.
And, well, it hurt. It hurt quite a lot, I got to tell you.
What does it feel like when you hurt?
When I feel pain, you would appreciate this as a Jewish woman. I put on my sackcloth and I just sprinkle ashes over myself in mourning of my sadness.
Last question, Mr. Trump, which is, what else would you like the audience listening to this to know?
I want the audience at home to know that I am going to work very, very hard to make America great and safe again. And there are other things that not just great and safe. I want to make it fabulous. I want to make it so good, so fantastic, fabulous. Thinking of other words. You got anything? Make America something again. Sure. What do you like?
Fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced. Anything else? I don't.
Good for anybody who doesn't have what everybody else has.
Good for anybody who doesn't have what anybody else has. Yeah.
Our poor people.
Poor people
have the same avenues to get an education.
Right.
To get a job.
Like Bernie Sanders, so poor. He's so poor. He's so poor, he has to go into politics to try to get a free education. That's how poor he is.
Okay, Mr. Trump, thank you very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And we've just been speaking with Donald Trump. This is an interview where I've gotten to ask him some questions that were put forth by our radio audience. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I'm Ellen Ratner.
Hold on. 1 sec. I like you a lot. And I want tonight to be special. It's kind of for the first time. I really want the mood to be perfect. So do you mind if I light a couple candles?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I light them for almost everything. Like, there's no occasion where a candle isn't appropriate. There we go. What do you think?
I think it's great. It's really nice.
Okay, so you're just humoring me. It's not quite right, so just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna do a couple more, okay? It's gonna be awesome when it's done. Like, you will never believe like candles can make things this romantic, but it's going to. It's going to. Trust me. 1 sec. It's all gonna be worth it, I swear. This is good.
Donnez-moi une suite au Ritz, je n'en veux pas. Des bijoux de chez Chanel, je n'en veux pas. Donnez-moi une limousine, je ferai quoi? Offrez-moi du personnel, j'en ferai quoi? La Châtel, ce n'est pas pour moi. Offrez-moi la Tour Eiffel, j'en ferai quoi?
He just keeps lighting lamps.
Are you seeing this?
cheveux, l'amour, la joie,
Looks
de
like
la
Fireflies,
bonne
right?
humeur. Ce n'est pas votre argent qui fera
Oh,
mon
when you get a load of this tile, you're gonna love it.
crever la main sur le cœur. Allons ensemble découvrir ma liberté. Oubliez.
What are you doing in my room? Psycho.
Cliché, bienvenue dans ma réalité.
Gotta run to the store real quick for some candles.
J'en ai marre de vos bonnes manières, c'est trop pour moi. Moi je mange avec les mains et je suis
I really
comme
need to clean my
ça. Je
car.
parle fort et je suis France, excusez-moi. Fini l'hypocrisie, moi, je me casse là. J'en ai marre des lampes de bois. Regardez-moi, de toute manière, je vous en veux pas. Et je suis comme ça.
All right, I think we're finally set. Oh! Oh! God, you look like shit now. Oh, fuck. I promise you, Sarah, I will never leave you. Okay, I gotta go, sweetheart. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, and we have commenced the jump off to the, what is today called? Noodle Free Mondays. I lose track. We got so many goddamn shows. I'm in one show one day, out one show the next, doing a comedy show. By the way, for anybody that is watching, if you're worried about Los Angeles and those hurricanes, I can advise you that those hurricanes were complete and total whackness. It literally drizzled all day. There was almost no serious rain. It didn't even make my roof leak. Like usually my roof will leak when it rains. Roof didn't even leak. That was a hurricane. But during the hurricane at about 12:30 in the afternoon, there was an earthquake. So we did get a little something. But yeah, California is not the weather place. That's why I live here, because it never rains in Southern California. All my guest hosts must be busy out running the street, doing whatever they got to do to get their money, get their life right. So we're going to do this Noodle Free Mondays classic Top Gun style. So if you haven't noticed on the title, our noodle of the week is Mr. Larry Elder, who is a favorite of some and not of many others. But Larry Elder is going to be our noodle of the week. Oh, I see I spelled this wrong. 1 second. Damn it. This is when you need an assistant to type this stuff for you to make sure it's right. Here we go. There it is. Noodle Free Mondays, Noodle of the Week, Mr. Larry Elder. And if you don't know who that is, he just had a recent talk on the Breakfast Club. Now, I would use their video, but I believe, from what I understand, you can't. They're really sticklers about this stuff. I might be able to use the audio in the background, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't think I want to go through all that. I don't know. I might experiment with it. Let me. I don't know. I'll figure it out later because I'm gonna do it later in the show. To avoid copyright issues, because the Breakfast Club is very aggressive with their stuff. What I think I'll do is I'll play it off of my phone, so there's no video, but you can still hear the audio of the conversation, and I'll stop it on here and then talk to you about it. And that way I shouldn't get any copyright issues. So that's thing number one. We usually jump things off with wrap-ups. I ain't been doing nothing but chilling and kicking it, working and grinding, getting my paper, doing everything I got to do. So we're going to jump it off. Noodle Free Mondays with what is going on in modern society right now. So let's bring that up. Booyah. And put me right here. I like this one with it to the side. I want to experiment with this one right here. I like this one. I like this. Look how it's like the small window. It's like a TV show. So rad, bro. Oh, let me see if the late logo looks good like this. 1 second, guys. Experimenting. Maybe if I sat over here, it would work. But then you can't see the screen of the news report. All right, I'll leave that off. That would have been dope. So what we're going to just check out some of the current stories going on right now. As you can see, the first story is that Trump makes a new false claim to support his old false claim. So apparently, he's still sticking by the fact that he feels like he won certain states. He feels like he won the election, didn't do anything wrong. Now, I will say, dude, you've already been indicted in 50 different states, 300 different indictments all over this stuff. Why say this now while you're literally under indictment? Like the arrogance of the rich, old, light-skinned brother, shall we say. Like, I can't even manage. So that is some noodle stuff right there. Right there. Second thing. Now, you heard me talk about this stupid daggone hurricane. Hurricane Hillary, which was named after a Hillary that nobody ever wants to touch. I think we can all agree on that. But Hurricane Hillary was kind of okay. I'm checking out CNN's website right now, so we're looking at that. I don't know if I got to pay for it to look at the story. Let's see if they show us a little bit of this devastation right here.
Tropical Storm Hillary has made landfall in Baja California, Mexico, and is starting to batter Southern California. New video from Mexico showing just how bad the flooding is. The intense rainfall turning what appears to be a neighborhood into a rushing river. At least one person died in the storm, according to Mexican officials.
All right. So much.
This morning, Palm Springs is under a local emergency order as heavy rain from Hillary is causing dangerous flood conditions and prompting at least 3 swift water rescues.
We're asking residents to stay inside, stay where they are.
The mayor's warning is because of a situation like this.
I got to pause.
A pickup.
I was talking terrible trash about this whole situation because out here, they were preparing us for it in LA. I actually had a comedy show yesterday. It was supposed to be 100 comedians at the show. So it's like 100 comedians all day from like 5 to like almost midnight. And they canceled it because they said, oh, the weather, it's dangerous, it's not safe. And then, dog, I literally sat here looking outside of my window. I did a podcast. And I was like, there's no rain. It was just drizzle. And I said, okay, it'll pick up at nighttime. Drizzle all night. It'll pick up in the morning. By the morning, the rain had stopped this morning, and it was 80 degrees and sunny today. So, but I see that it kicks some butt somewhere else. I was telling people that hurricanes out here, it's going to be the water because they have very bad sewage and water distribution out here because they're not used to water. So when they get a lot of water, it floods all their streets, and it probably flooded a bunch of people's home. And that's probably what we're going to hear about because they said this was in Palm Springs, which is about 3 hours from Los Angeles. Let's get back to this CNN report.
A truck stuck in the middle of a street, surrounded by deep, rushing floodwaters. The driver was not injured, but the California Highway Patrol closed the road to prevent others from crossing. Those floodwaters so powerful, a refrigerator was seen floating away in them. This drone video taken over a nearby neighborhood where the flooding has nearly covered an entire golf course. One homeowner says he's never seen anything like it in the Coachella Valley.
Within 24 hours, it's turned into a torrential storm. Between hole number 13 and hole number 16, it's virtually 6 feet thick.
The conditions there also creating a dangerous situation for drivers, including a fire truck forced to turn around due to rising waters. Ahead of the storm, the Palm Springs mayor says the city prepared and distributed 60,000 sandbags, as well as cleared storm drains.
Even an inch or two of rain in the desert can cause damage.
All right, take a look at this. The road totally covered up, but it's also completely socked in on this other side of the road. I mean, look. Ooh, I'm barely touching the bottom there.
State officials say some desert regions, like Palm Springs, could double their yearly amount of water in just one day from Hillary. Overnight, officials in Ventura County searched by helicopter and on the ground for a couple of people believed to be trapped by floodwaters from the Santa Clara River. 2 people eventually walked out of the flooded area, assisted by crews. Officials urging everyone to stay out of river bottoms and canals. Whoa. And this was the scene Sunday in Wrightwood, about 77 miles northeast of Los Angeles. Huge gushes of water forcing their way through a wash, carrying large logs, rocks, and muddy debris. Exactly the type of thing the governor wants people to be on alert for.
Take seriously debris flows and floods, flash floods, lightning, possibility of tornadoes.
Shit, I just realized I had it muted all that time.
Grab my head! Wait, are you sweating? Didn't you use Allspice dry spray?
I don't know what that is. All right, anyway, I had that shit muted at the end, but what I was saying at the end is in my neighborhood, the rain had no effect. There was no flooding. Usually when it rains really hard in Southern California, LA specifically for me, my street corner would flood, similar to Mr. BAS's block. All the streets around me would flood, and even like when you go to Hollywood and stuff like that, all the streets wouldn't be open because like every couple of streets, it'd just be all water. Like, and I'm talking like 6 inches to like almost 12 inches of water, if not more. And it's covering the entire street. So those images you saw, which my dumb ass was talking muted on, that was an example of said circumstance. Like this smoking item, which is, of course, completely legal. All right. Let's see what we got going on. So that's one current news item that's going on. Oh, what was the other one? Oh, shit. My stupid ass. I closed the window. This is where you need an assistant. I need a girlfriend or something. Let's go back to CNN. They were doing really good. What else CNN says is going on with some noodle stuff? Disaster crap. Georgia Sarah. Oh, okay. This is out of control. What the hell is this? Oh, we got to bring this one up right here. This is wild. So some other noodle stuff right here. So this one, what is with this top window? How can I close it? Oh, there you go. So this one is Georgia sheriff pleads guilty to sexual battery and resigns after grabbing TV judge Glenda Hatchett. So that's the black lady, right? Glenda Hatchett. Let me see. Let me click on Glenda Hatchett. Yeah, that's the black lady. He grabbed the sister. Oh my God, the white boy done grabbed the sister booty. All right, what happened? It says that a Georgia sheriff resigned and pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor sexual battery charge Monday after he grabbed TV judge Glenda Hatchett's chest. He grabbed her boobs in January 2022. Allegedly, his attorney said. Bleckley County Sheriff Chris Cootie was sentenced to 12 months probation and was also ordered to a complete community service. He also must pay a $500 fine and was ordered to complete an alcohol and drug evaluation. So apparently, I guess he was drunk, and I don't know if he thought she was giving him vibe, and he either bumped into her, fell into her, or grabbed her breast during the incident, which was just in January 2022, which is last year. So that's amazing. Hatchett, a former chief presiding judge in Georgia and the star of TV shows Judge Hatchett, and the verdict with Judge Hatchett, thanked her attorneys during the news conference Monday and recounted what happened. I guess sip this coffee. There we go. Hatchett said she was attending a reception and the sheriff came up to her uninvited. During introductions, the sheriff poked her briefly in the chest after the judge said he was not familiar with Bleckley County. He said it was right in the heart of Georgia, he said Monday. So I guess he was drunk and he was telling her Bleckley is like right in the heart of Georgia. And I guess he was drunk, and when he was doing the point, he was trying to point at her heart, but he was touching her chest. And as a woman, touching her, number one, do it to a man, it's like, hey, man, you want to get in a fight? You do it to a woman, it's like, hey, you basically just grabbed my titty, right? So I guess that's what happened. He poked her in the chest while telling her the city was right in the heart of Georgia. Now, this is official top-level noodle activity right here. Full-blown noodle activity. Oh, shit, it gets worse. It said the sheriff poked her briefly in the chest after the judge said she was not familiar with Bleckley County. He said it was right in the heart of Georgia. Hatchett said Monday. But then he grabbed my breast. He flat out grabbed the titty. He grabbed my left breast, not just her left breast, and squeezed it, and then started rubbing on her breast until someone removed his hand and pushed him away. Wow. And this is her. She is, look, I don't want to talk bad about nobody, but he grabbed that woman titty. You see what she looked like? Ew. Ew. I don't care how old he was. If he was 700, he should still be like, nah, that titty cool. I'm cool on that one. I'm cool on that titty. I don't know. It was like, I don't know, maybe he wanted to disrespect her, or maybe he always thought she was beautiful. I don't see it. But he grabbed that woman's chest. Wow. Talk about offensive. Now that's offensive. Wow, I can't believe that. Former DeKalb County Sheriff Thomas Brown, who witnessed the incident, previously told CNN affiliate at WSB he intervened when he saw Cody grab the judge's breast. Wow. I grabbed his arm and threw it off her chest, Brown told the news station, adding he asked Cody what was he doing, and the interaction ended. I am a very strong woman. I pride myself on being strong, and I really thought I was fine, Hatchett said Monday during the news conference. But in the days after the incident, Hatchett said she could not stop crying and could not get out the bed and went to therapy. Now, I kind of understand this, and I'm going to talk about why. And this is what happens when you're dealing with noodles out in the world, jerks, buttholes, basically living trolls, right? What that man did to her, besides the sexual aspect of it, let's take that out of it. Let's take the aspect that this is Judge Hatchett. She has had multiple television shows. She is an official judge. She is an educated woman. She is a strong, single African-American woman, right? She's a true trooper. She's a judge. She put you in jail. And even after all of those accolades, all of that certification, all the shows, all the prestige, all the work, she was basically helpless as a man degraded and fondled her in public. It was probably, I bet you, she was so shocked it was happening, she didn't even know what to say to stop him. Like she probably couldn't believe he was grabbing her breast. And that's why she was really messed up about it. I'm looking at it. She don't look like she get her breast touched too much anyway, so I doubt that was the problem. But I definitely would understand how she was devastated by the fact that I built my career up. I worked so hard. And here comes this guy walking up, giving me the toot beep beep job like it's a doorbell. And it had to be removed. And this is a sheriff, an officer of the law. And I was like, damn, that's cold. Now that is some noodle stuff right there. So that's another story. Let's see what else CNN got going on in the world of crazy news. That was wild right there. The boy grabbed the daggone titty. Stop the madness. What we got going on here? What's this? Ooh, this is an interesting one. All right, so another noodle situation that's going on in America right now is if you don't know, there's been a stagnation of wages since the 70s, right? Ever since the 70s came around, it's been a stagnation of wages. They haven't been paying people money, and they basically have stopped increasing your salary equally with the rich guys that own the company. Basically, they've been keeping all the extra and keeping your salary stuck. And basically, most people today are making like 1970s, 1980 money. You're not even making 2020 money. You're making like 1980 money. Only like the super rich are making money that's truly on accord with today's time and era. And that's why you see such a big wealth gap. So here's a great story from CNN right here. Job seekers want record high wages, and men expect $25,000 more than women do. Now look at that. Now, I want you guys to peep this phrase. The guys, basically, we know how much we're supposed to be paid. And it's one of the things I always complain about at my job. More money, more money, more money, more money, right? What's interesting with ladies, I guess, they respect power more, or they want to prove that they're independent. So they're willing to take lower pay for the same job. And so when a guy that comes in like me or somebody else that wants a lot of money, if we say, nah, I need like 20, 25,000 more than that, they'll say, well, I'll just hire this girl over here. So do it. And they basically use men against women to then cut us all out of the salary we deserve. And this is why you see men expect $25,000 more than women do. And it's because women are fairly new to the market and they don't know that they're getting robbed for their pay. And this is actually part of the women's pay gap. The women are taking, similar to what people say about immigrants, women take less than they should for jobs. And if they stood a little more firm, we would all be getting paid a lot more money. But since there's so many women that want a job, if a guy doesn't want it, they'll just hire a lady. And then the guy's just out of a job and she has a job and then he's the broke loser. So this is a real interesting story. And this is up in Minneapolis. It says, when employers deliver a job offer, it had better come with some teeth. Americans' wage expectations have hit record highs. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of the New York survey released Monday, job seekers' average reservation wage, the lowest they'd be willing to take for a new job, climbed to $78,645 in July. And I used to tell people at my job, yo, dude, we should be making like $75,000 to do what we do. They pay us like 50 something. Don't get me started. In June 2023, up nearly 8% from July of last year. According to the New York Fed's latest survey on customers' labor market experiences and expectations, the higher wage expectations are a reflection of this current moment in the economy and labor market, said this Julia Ponchak chick. Let me see what else they got to say. Blah, 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 largely explains, blah, 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 higher wages, blah, 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 70.5%. Prices. All right, here's a good one. So they made a good point. Prices have risen 17.5% since the pandemic, since the pandy, as they call it. Do you realize that at your job, if you've had a job, you know that at the end of the year, they're trying to give you like a 1, 2, or 3% raise. Well, just since the pandemic, I would say if you got a 3% raise, it would take you 5 years to make this up. Mind you, for the next 5 years, wages, it'll still be increasing. So you're already behind 5 years of payment. So your job, if it was keeping track with prices in the market, your job should basically upgrade you right now 17.5% raise to keep up with prices, because that's what cost of living pay is about. So this is a good example and a great story about how now the prices are going up. They're still paying the same thing, and nobody's changing. What else did he say? And he said if it wasn't for the post-pandemic inflation surge, prices would have only went up 7%. Now, again, look at that. She said even if everything was perfect, because if you talk to a real economist will tell you that the economy goes up 6% every year. It's not 2%. It's not 1%. That's a lot. The real average that inflation happens every year is about 6%. So if you get a raise of any sort from your job or anyone that's anything less than 5 to 6% a year, they just stole money from you. Just to tell you the truth. And this is proof. She said it would be 7%. So they said because of the pandy, it went to 17%. But your job's not going to give you the 17% raise. Your job's not going to give you the 10% raise to cover the 7%. They're going to give you that 2 to 3 and then tell you you're not working hard enough. But I want to tell you something. The managers at this company, they do get the 10% raise. They do get the 15% raise. They do get the 20% raise. But they can't give you the same. And it's really a scam that they use, and they just want to reinvest your paycheck into the business. So that's another thing. What else they got to say about this? And he said, okay, men and college graduates do demand more. Said women's reservation. He said men's graduate men, the wage floors were $98,000 and $91,000 respectively. I wish. So $98,000 for the college graduates, and then the non-male college graduates expected $91,000. Who the hell is getting $98,000, $91,000 for a job nowadays to do anything? You know how rare those jobs are? And then the women said their reservation wage was a record as well. But it was $66,000, which is $12,000 below the average. And then nearly $25,000 below the men's expectations. So they was taking almost half as much and was cool with it. Let me see here. It said the fact that women are earning 84% of what men earn, but they actually only expect 73%, suggests that the media narrative of the gender pay gap makes women expect even less, and that perhaps are not preparing young women for the workforce adequately. So if you read all this stuff, this is some noodle stuff, and this is the game that's being run on us, guys. The whole money situation. It's totally screwed. They're underpaying us, overwriting us, ripping us off, and they tricked our women into it. This is actually some really good information. All right, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break on my solo shows, and I'm going to just always play like a video in between my break. I think I'm going to just play one of my videos. I think I'm going to review somebody else's video later, but I'm not going to do that till later. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play what I call a break video, because I'm going to experiment with machine. So let's see what I do. I'm going to do a couple stories, then play a break video of some kind. Shit, I can't find my page. And we'll do something funny. Since it's Noodle Free Mondays, it's all about silly people and stuff. So let's get a break video up. Let's find a good break video. We'll play a couple of break videos. We'll take a 5-minute break, and we will play these two videos. Okay, here we go. Okay.
What you say to me?
Happy Monday, bitch!
Here we go. Oh, hello. And welcome to another episode of Homemade Sex Toys with me, Randy Andy. Now, today is a very special day because we are reaching out to public access internet. Now, isn't that exciting? I will hope that the telephone does not ring in the middle to cut off our internet connection. I would like to start with a letter I received in the post. Now, this letter you will enjoy. This is from a very long-time viewer. Yes, she saw my very first show. I actually had some souffle with her. Let me get to it. Here it is. Dear Randy, do you know how to get stains out of pleather? Thank you, Stacy. No, I do not. Okay, what you will need is a toilet paper roll, scissors, a glue gun, and now I cannot stress enough, I've said this time and time again, when using a glue gun, or any tools for that matter, be sure to keep all of your clothes on. Next, you will need 100 gummy bears, an assortment of colors. All right. Oh, and scissors. So, step 1. You want to cut the cardboard down the center. Oh, that gets harder every time. Then, you want to take your gummy bears and glue them in rows on the inside. Gentlemen, if you're making this for a boyfriend, well, why not use the colors of the rainbow? Or if you have a favorite sports team, or if you have a least favorite sports team. For me, Dallas, Texas, fuck you. When placing your gummy bears, you want to be very sure that the arms and legs are pointing up to the sky. Now, this is imperative for absolute intense pleasure. For those little arms and legs will tickle you in places you didn't even know you had. And I have discovered them all, so stay tuned. Now, those of you uncircumcised, you may want to add about double the glue. Here we go, little bears. Oh, yes, you'll be getting your porridge soon. Now, I will say, if you are making this lover for an ethnic friend, you may want to consider using a paper towel roll instead. Now, isn't that starting to look inviting? Oh, I'm already getting very excited. So excited, in fact, that I can't wait any longer. Now, this is what your finished product will look like. Now, doesn't that look like something you want to hide in the bathroom with? I think so. A little bit of lotion will help you along. Remember, don't eat the bears that have been glued. You'll die. Thank you for tuning in to Homemade Sex Toys with Randy Andy. And I ask you, please share my videos. Attach your friends to my videos. Ship them to your dad. Hashtag your moms. And I can't wait to hear from each and every one of you. Tune in next week where I will be making my late wife Agabel's favorite. It is a pleasure machine. I'll see you all the good. I am Randy Andy. It's good.
I'm so sorry. Okay, coincidentally, if there's anything I can do to make this go away without involving the authorities.
Yeah. I think we can work something out.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is.
We just so we're on the same page. You're not like referring to anything kinky, are you?
Oh, fuck. I forgot my jive juice.
Oh my God, you bitch. What are you doing here?
Guys.
Fucking mute button gets me every time. Struggle streaming. But like I was saying, thanks for watching. If you are still watching, this is the end of the break. We're about to do a review of a video by a group called Manosphere Highlights Daily. And if you remember, if you're on the internet, you may have heard of the Red Pillars or the MGTOW guys or whoever else. You may have heard of recently names like Andrew Tate. You may have seen some Caucasian lady named Pearl around on Piers Morgan recently. Also back in the day, of course, you had Kevin Samuels. Some people may be familiar with him. And it's basically what you would call, I guess, basically just, people call them just men who hate women, to put it simple. It's really just men who are frustrated with women and they want to voice their opinions, because up until the recent YouTube era, men didn't really have a chance to kind of just say whatever they thought unless they were like Rush Limbaugh, or like Howard Stern. Like, you had to have a big radio show, but then the YouTube came along and now they let everybody stream. So now guys are like basically making their own, I guess, male version of Oprah Winfrey, and they call it the Manosphere. And this particular site highlights some of them. So I was just going to pick one of these out, see if there's a good one here. So I'm just checking out some titles. Well, in fact, why don't you guys look at the titles with me? Let's see what we got here. And so this is this page right here, Manosphere Highlights Daily. And this guy, he sounds like he's one of our brothers from Africa. I don't know if he's in Africa or if he's in another country, but when I hear him talk, he has a very African type accent. I'm going to pick one of his shorter videos just for speed and length's sake. I think that one down there is 6 minutes. I'm going to pick the 6-minute one. Oh, let's talk about the Megan Rapinoe, because she did some noodle stuff recently, so this is a good one. Pause that. Let me run this in the background. Hey, yo, I'm gonna go. I'm trying to decide if I should go to Legoland because I've never been, or should I go ride roller coasters. But I can always go to Six Flags. I ain't never been to Legoland. I think I'm gonna go to Legoland, yo. My birthday coming in next month. I want to do something I ain't never did, and whatnot. So let's bring this up here and we'll talk about it. see what we got going on. Full screen this, turn that. Let's see what we got.
Right foot's it over the bar.
It's a tough one, and there's just some dark comedy in me missing a penalty in my last game ever.
It's
So
a real dark one. This is the guy, man. Let's play highlights for you. Gotta really pay attention. Gotta get really dope intros like these guys. Like these guys' intros are amazing. It's just like
in sports, there will always be a winning team and a losing team.
Let me see what he says. All right, here we go. Oh, I like the way he starts this thing. We go right here. And I'm going to skip a little bit, just to skip around, also for fair use reasons. It's good to skip around, stop it, transform the work, as they say.
Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we got to do. Because we men, ain't we? We men, ain't we?
More than half of the US women's national team refused to sing their anthem ahead of a World Cup game. The team are risking the ire of the American public, with critics calling them disrespectful.
Alexi Lalas claims the US women's soccer team has become unlikable after players failed to sing the national anthem at the World Cup, and says the players risk.
Now, I heard about this, but I didn't know about it, but I did hear about that some of them were kind of protesting. And I guess I get it for like NBA teams and professional teams because you're kind of here within the country. But these ladies kind of represent the national team, and I thought it was, it's supposed to be about politics, but not about politics at the same time. You know what I mean? But that's just me. And it seemed like the teams they were playing against this year just seemed to have more pride. You know, it wasn't pride in this. It was like they were playing soccer for money and not for love. And it seems like they were facing teams playing for love. And I'm going to tell you something. If somebody's fighting for love, you can't win that battle.
Becoming irrelevant over their political stances. You see, that's the real issue here. Mixing politics with sports. It's not that people dislike the sport itself. It's more about some players publicly sharing their political views on the soccer field that gets people worked up. If the national team has no respect for the flag, the national anthem, and their country, why should their countrymen support them? The foolish.
Exactly. And this is what you would call the noodle situation that happened. I put my little thing down somewhere. 1 second, y'all. But this is a noodle thing. You can still hear me. This is a noodle thing that happened with the situation. Sometimes, you get a voice in America. You have the opportunity to speak. And it's good to speak on certain things, but there's a time to speak, and then there's a time to be quiet. When you're in the midst of whatever you're doing for your country, that's not the time to speak. Your time to speak was after the World Cup. So, for example, these girls would have went there, won this World Cup, kicked some butt like they should have, and then came back. They would have been able to protest and talk and ask for all kind of rights and money and equal pay and all kind of stuff. And that's why they had trouble right now, is because flat out they pissed everybody off. But what made it worse is they didn't win. So let me skip ahead a little further. Let's go right here. Let's see where he's at right here.
And just seeing these images for the first time right now on the desk, I've never witnessed something like that. There's a difference between being respectful of the fans and saying hello to your family, but to be dancing, to be smiling. I mean, the player of the match was that post. You're lucky to not be going home right now.
We're going to let a lady explain why this celebration after a mediocre performance in the group stage is not appreciated and even considered disrespectful. Check this.
She said the player of the match was the post. If they didn't hit that post, you wouldn't have won a damn thing. Yeah, 0-0. That's like, yeah, this was I guess this was the game they celebrated a tie. These are supposed to be like the best women in the world. Like our men suck, but our women are supposed to be like top 5, top 10. And I mean, I guess it's just a down year. Sometimes you have a bad year. But
so
This particular team has been going through lawsuits. They've been complaining and whinging for the last 4 years because they don't get equal pay with the men's team. But let's not forget, this is the same team that lost to an under-15s boys soccer club. That doesn't really sound like a professional soccer team to me who would be justified in demanding the same pay as a team who plays in the World Cup against the number one teams in the world. It also doesn't seem like this team takes this sport very seriously, particularly this player, Megan Rapinoe.
Megan Rapinoe has become the leading face and spokesperson for the U.S. women's soccer team's drive for equal pay. And she represented herself and the national team with.
Now, I know a lot of people are being hard on Megan Rapinoe, and they even talk crap about her like she's like a bad player. Well, number one, if she's on the damn team, I'm sure she's pretty freaking good at soccer. Let's cut the crap. I don't like it when people talk trash about professional athletes. I don't care, man, woman, LGBTQ. I don't care if you're a horse that wants to marry a fish. If you're good, you're good. And if you're in the professional leagues, you're better than 98% of the people in existence on this planet. Forget that, 99.5%. That's how good she is. So she may suck when around all the other chicks, but she will dog the crap out of you and all your brothers, okay? So chill on all that talking bad about it, but I will say, just like NBA players like Zion Williamson, they get unfocused. She got unfocused. You know, she's got the hair, she get the personality. She became more of a spokesperson than a player. And it distracted from her game. A lot of NBA players, if they see that you have a lot of commercials, let's say it's distracting you from your game. Blake Griffin, if you remember him, he had a lot of commercials. Yo, doing all this commercials and running around stuff, you're not focused on your game. You're trying to be that dude, right? And if you notice, Giannis does not have a lot of commercials. I didn't even think about that, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, I can't say the boy name. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Giannis Acapulco is what I'm gonna call him right now. He don't got too many daggone commercials and whatnot. And you notice how focused he is. You notice how well he's playing. And I think that's what happened to Megan Rapinoe and these ladies. They got a little too caught up in the exterior aspects of their success, and this can destroy you. And this is a lesson for everybody to learn. America is dealing with that now with all the wars and stuff that we do outside of the country. It's affecting the inner country. Zion Williamson, the NBA player, messing around with these women in the porno stars. It's affecting his career. Ja Morant pulling guns out on Instagram, affecting his career. They're letting the external success throw them off the track that put them on success in the first place. And I think that's what happened to her. And she got old because she's been playing for a long time. So when you get old and you're not focused, you can't do both. Like if LeBron James wasn't focused, he'd have stopped playing basketball 8 years ago. You get what I'm saying? LeBron James is focused. And he makes sure he stays on it. She was like, all right, I'm the John. I'm the chick. So that's why everybody's kind of like dogging her. But I'll give her a little bit of a break. She's a great player. She's just getting old, and she's out of her way. And I think she just got a little distracted by the goal that they want to achieve politically with pay for women.
With arrogance, entitlement.
All right.
Dark comedy and me missing a penalty in my last game ever. So
yeah,
because I was saying with the smile, I mean, was that just pretty much a message that that's football, that's life, things happen? I mean, that's a sick joke. That's just like, yeah. I mean, that's a sick joke. I can't believe that. I never even hit them over. I mean, probably equal pay chance after the final.
Okay, so this part, they asked what her biggest success was. And she
probably equal pay chance
getting equal pay.
After the final.
I would say, God, out of my whole career,
my.
Let me tell you something. I don't even got to hear my man from Ministry of Hell got to say. Let me tell you guys something. If I was a professional athlete and I had a 15, 20-year career, and they said, what was the highlight of your career? I would talk about a goal where I won a game at the last second one time. I would talk about the first time I scored my first professional goal. I would talk about, I would talk about that. I would talk about the first time that I beat one of my idols. I don't know if I would just talk about a political achievement outside of the sport. It just seems, to say the least. Yeah. Well, let's finish this up.
My goodness.
That's all well and good, but to say your greatest achievement is to do with money, I don't know. I think that rubs people up the wrong way. And I think it shows a total lack of appreciation for the country that has allowed you to be there and to play your passion out on the world stage. There's just a huge arrogance and an ungratefulness around this team, which makes it really hard to support them. And that's why they're receiving so much backlash from US fans. And then to spend years and years demanding the same pay as their male counterparts, but unable to back it up with a professional performance, it's just a little bit embarrassing.
At the end of the day, these women got paid. They are getting paid money they do not deserve. And that's why they won, because it was never about the game. It was always about.
So that was another noodle topic number 2. The soccer team and Mega Rapinoe. My final words in that particular situation. I feel like the female soccer team earned their equal piece scenario, because even though they didn't have a good year this year, for like the last 10 or 15 years before, I believe they were kicking butt. So I think the enhanced pay now makes up for the years they did good. And yeah, they fell off a year, but that's what happens. After you get the contract, after you get the money in pro sports, most athletes fall off. They call it a sophomore slump or after contract slump. Almost all of them do it. The minute they get that $100 million contract, they get hurt or they have a bad year or both. And that's probably what happened now. They were feeling themselves, and I think they got a little too caught up in what was going on. And I think the other teams were hungry because they wanted to beat them. And they had more national pride. So that's why they lost. So that's issue number 2. What time we got here? We're at 9:30. So we got about 40 minutes left in the show. Got 10 minutes left. I don't really want to do one of his videos because I don't want to dominate it. We're going to play one of my cat poop crazy videos. And then I'm going to comment on that. I'm going to see if I got a good topic on one of those. One moment here. Why I always gotta type my full stuff in? Because they be hating on the internet. All right, here we go. I don't need none of my shorts. Oh, you know what? I should be playing music while I'm talking too. Damn it, I didn't think about that. Get some music on here. I could play my shit, right? That's right. There we go. All right. What's a good one that I think is a noodle situation? Since we're getting close to 10, I want to do something that I can start talking about within 9 minutes. I'm going to pick one of these short ones. I'll take this 4-minute one right here. That. Take my music off. Get video up. You know what do I have the oh shit, I got the goddamn I was wondering. I was wondering. I was looking at those other videos. I said, "Damn, these videos look a little blurry." I got to remember that to turn up the quality. But I think I'll also be keeping the quality low to try to save streaming stuff. But I still need to turn up a little bit. I noticed this shit was blurry. I said, "Damn, I need to turn the quality up some." But anyway, I'll turn the quality up this time. Should look a lot better. Now, this is just a segment from one of my videos. It's called "It's Not Race, It's You." It was just a comedy set talk that I had about racial situations in America and people over-exaggerating things. It may be going too far, which I consider a noodle aspect. So let's listen to this. Then I'm going to comment on my video after this. Luckily, it's my own video, so I don't have to worry about any copyright stuff. Actually, I can take down that Manosphere highlights, fair use, because I'm no longer even using their stuff. And my name is good enough. And let's hit play. Really got to me. Because what scared me about the internet on my final concern is the last thing I saw, just like the Asian girl who was dancing to the gangster music. Well, I'm gonna tell you, that Asian girl looked like she couldn't even read. Hear me. That Asian girl looked like she couldn't read in America. That's how bad the internet has gotten. Asian girls look like they can't read. Anyway, the final thing I noticed about the internet that's really driving me crazy, and as an African American and a brother, I understand all the problems that go on in society. There's a thing that people call racism, right? Where people have trouble, they get in problems, they think people are hating. Well, the internet has now somehow turned everything into racism. Everything is racism. On the internet, oh, it's racism because I can't keep a job. It's racism because I'm lazy. It's racism because I don't want to work. It's racism because my sexual organism doesn't work right. It's racism because I'm not a nice person. It's racism because I'm ugly. It's racism because I'm short. It's racism because of everything. I'm like, no, everything isn't racism. You're devaluing the word. And I need to have a talk about that, and I need to make a video or something where people need to understand the difference between racism, bigotry, and prejudice. These are the three forms of human protection, right? Now, I've explained in other videos about racism, and that is really just business, not personal. It's really about separating the genes so everybody doesn't look like Colin Kaepernick. Well, all racism is when you hurt somebody's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So you may have heard about the Clippers owner, Donald Sterling. He gave people trouble in the apartment buildings. He didn't want his girlfriend hanging with African Americans at the game. He basically was inhibiting life and liberty. That's racism. You may have heard bad things about Donald Trump's father, who owned apartment buildings in New York and gave African Americans and minorities trouble with how they lived in their homes. Affecting how somebody lives or job, that is racism. But the stuff that people are complaining about on the internet, that just because they had a bad day or somebody wasn't nice to or something's wrong, that is not racism. Even what just recently happened with the young man in New York, it wasn't racism. The guy's just a jerk. That's how it is and whatnot. And then you have bigotry, which is the second level. Now, bigotry is when somebody will openly tell you that they really don't like your people. They really don't trust you, but they'll still do business with you. You remember a show called All in the Family with Archie Bunker. He used to let the African-American guys date his daughter, have happy intercourse with her, socialize with him, ate dinner with George Jefferson, but he would always tease him about being African-American, talk about him eating the chicken and the dancing and the music. But he would still work with them. That's bigotry. Or if you remember Sanford and Son, he's a bigot towards a lot of other races, but he still worked with them. He was still friends with them. That's bigotry, where you expose how you feel about people, but you're still okay to work with them, you do business with them, help them live. And then the last aspect is what we call prejudice. Now, I am 6'4". So I don't know if you live in a major city and there's a drug problem, a meth problem, but there's a lot of people asking you for money late at night. So let's say some guy that's 6'4" like me is like, hey, you got a quarter for me right now, or I'm gonna hurt you real bad. Now, your prejudice is going to tell you, oh my God, get away from this guy. He's crazy, right? Prejudice is you protecting yourself as a safe animal. And I want you guys to stop using racism for everything. Everything is not racist. It's racism, bigotry, and prejudice. And that's Capu Crazy Carl, number 22. Check me out. Clean Capu Crazy. More jokes and folks coming on the way. Going to switch up the outfit, do some more another day. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Capu Crazy Carl. Yeah. All right, there we go. And yeah, so that video, I'm basically reviewing my own video for this particular segment. And the point of that video was that I think we overuse a lot of terminology nowadays when we maybe mean one or two or three different things, such as you heard in that video. There's racism, there's bigotry, and there's prejudice. And I think a lot of times we just clump it all into racism. You know, so you'll have a prejudice moment where it might just be a safety thing for someone. They're like, oh, that was racist. It's like, nah, he probably just was nervous because it's dark and you kind of big. You know, but you're a big black guy. He's a little Caucasian person. Oh, it's racism. No, they might have just been scared. Might have just been scared, right? And then you have bigotry, where it's like some people will kind of almost be rude to you. You know, almost tell you straight to your face and make jokes. They might even make racial jokes back and forth. You might be able to make them back and forth even on a friendship thing or whatever it may be. Or that might be like you guys' weird relationship, right? But you still work with each other. You still, do deals with each other. You still go hang out. And if your daughter likes him, you'll still let him date him and then not be a problem. And that's bigotry, where you still have some perceived concerns. You may even voice them or expand them out or tell people, hey, I do certain stuff, but I don't do other stuff. But you'll still not show bias. You'll still serve them. You'll still give them a good business like you would give anybody else business. And then you have what is officially racism, which is basically the impeding of someone's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So you don't let them rent an apartment. You don't let them get a job. You don't serve them food right. You underserve them. You overserve them. You treat them in a terrible way based on your perception of who they are for wherever they came from. You're basically stifling their happiness, but actually doing it. Not just being mean or being rude or saying something on the internet. That's not really racism. Racism is keeping somebody from getting a job. Not letting somebody get a loan at a bank. Not selling someone a house at a proper price, but raising the price up on one group and lowering it for another. These are the kind of things that you will call racism. And that's the point of that particular segment right there. We're coming up on the 10 o'clock hour. We got 30 minutes left in the show. A little bit later, I'm going to do our noodle of the week, Mr. Larry Elder. I'll go over some of what he did at the Breakfast Club. I can't really show the video, so I think I'm going to play it from my phone so we can hear some of the audio. I'll comment on that. My new thing I'm doing, since I'm in like kind of my own show thing, I'm always take little breaks now in between stories and topics. Matter of fact, let me see if CNN has one more good story before we take the next break. Let's see what CNN has to say for themselves. Sons of guns. Hey, this is the beat from my song, by the way, Patient Dr. Umar. All right, let's see if we can find one more news story to go over. That seems noodle-ish to me. Let's get it up here. So I like it. We'll be like we're looking for this story together. We'll be bonding. It's a fun thing. We'll look up one more story, and what we'll do is I'll play some break videos and get into my final noodle of the week review of Larry Elder of the Breakfast Club and this whole Larry Elder situation and what's going on with him. All right, so let's find a topic here that catches my little ugly eye. Young people, blah, blah, blah. Quit the race, laid off drivers. Quit job, 10K savings. Oh, wow, this sounds crazy right here. California was, wow, look at this story title right here, guys. Holy smack. Look at this. It says, let me turn my, the music's okay. I'm gonna just turn it down a little bit. I think my music's piping too high. I'm gonna put on some different music too, because this feels a little more serious here. We'll put on something a little more relaxing, because this feels a little more serious right now. All right, there we go. Put some light on. Okay, it says a Californian was killed after an argument over a pride flag hanging outside her clothing store. Wow. So we're out here banging over pride flags? Okay, we might have to check this story out. You know what? I'm going to leave it up. Excuse me. Let me make sure I give CNN their credit. One moment here. And then we'll do one more story, take a video break, and then finish up with our noodle of the week, Mr. Larry Elder. Let's see what CNN got to say.
Introducing HelloFresh's new Fresh and Fit summer menu, designed to support your wellness goals.
Stupid commercial. They gotta get their money. Get your money, CNN. We're gonna watch the commercial together. My job tried to trap me into this HelloFresh thing, right? They gave me like a free meal package, but after that, they want to deliver food to your house and charge you like $100 like a week or something. I'm like, man, I don't want you. I'm not trying to get a new bill, nigga. I thought you was giving me some free shit. I'll tell you,
afraid for her safety? You'd said some of the pride flags she'd put up had been torn down in the past. Was she ever afraid?
No. Yeah. No, she was fearless and she was confident. And she wasn't afraid to stand up to anybody.
I read that your mom had actually ordered a new pride flag because the old one was fading.
Yeah. When we arrived home on Friday night after the incident occurred, there was a package on the doorstep. And it was a new flag, and she had told my dad that she had ordered it because the one that had been hanging had naturally faded from the sun.
Wait, I'm sorry. The new flag had arrived, was waiting on your doorstep when you got home after your mom had been killed.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. For a second, I forgot what this story was about. So I was like, God, why are they being so somber over a flag? But I remembered a lady lost her life over the flag. Okay, my apologies. That's my ignorance. Sorry about that, guys.
I can't imagine what that was like, even seeing that.
Yeah. It was hard and emotional. But I mean, even the store now, and she has another store down in LA, so many supporters and people that were a part of our community have gone and put up their own flags and rainbow flowers and so many things to honor her.
It's a big community. Yeah, that's a shame. All right, so that's deep right there. So that's some noodle stuff right there that I want to give my opinion on. Now, I actually am in Los Angeles. Am I muted? Yes, I am. I am in Los Angeles, right? And so I see the flags all over the place. It is a huge community and very big. RIP to her moms. That is a shame that's happening. I don't know why. I guess it's one of those probably the one. We're heating up to the politics are heating up, and when the politics heat up, Americans start attacking each other. And I don't want you guys to start doing it. Don't you guys let these Republicans and Democrats get you all hyped up and go out there and start fussing and fighting with people and blaming each other for why this country is messed up. It is not your fellow American average person's fault this country is where it is. It's not poor people's fault. It's not minorities' fault. It's not even my border jumper buddy's fault. It's not. It's the clear mismanagement of the government, our FBI, our war machine, the Pentagon, and they've mismanaged $33 trillion. That's why America is where it is today. And we spread out too far like Rome, and we need to close back in. And what you see with these incidents is what I tell people what's happening to America. It's rotting from the inside out because we're all the way out in the Middle East doing stuff. We're all the way out in Ukraine doing stuff. We're all the way out trying to mess with China. We're all the way out trying to mess around in Africa. We're spread out far. The Persian Empire, the Roman Empire, all empires. They get too big. They spread out too far. The inside collapses. And that is what's happening to America. And we're probably on like a 30 to 40 year spin before you really see the true results of the inside. Because $33 trillion has been sucked out from the guts of this country. And it is out there in the ether in very rich men's bank. And what you saw happen to that wonderful lady, or maybe not, I don't know, she could have been a mean. But the point is, she lost her life over a flag argument in front of her business. And now, one thing I did notice is that a lot of people that are part of the LGBTQ family, they tend to have children. I find that interesting. They tend to have children. It's very interesting, especially the ladies. Very interesting. It's like there's like, all right, well, I tried this man thing, but I'm switching teams. Like I just had a homegirl talking about that. Matter of fact, this relates to another story in a cross section. So you see how I transition is. I had a friend that was on Facebook today, just to mention the topic. I'm not going to put their stuff up on the share screen and put them on blast. But the young lady is frustrated with her male relationship she's had over the years. I think she might be in her mid-30s by about now. She is what you would call a sex worker, but she doesn't do like pornography or anything. But she's one of those bikini model type chicks, right? She's like a tall, skinny olive oil type, right? So she's always been like proving her sexy. A few years ago, she actually met a guy that had a baby. I thought they were happy. I thought that was it. I thought she was done. I was like, okay, well, she's off the market. And I was like, it doesn't seem like he has a problem with her still doing her, kind of, sexy red thing, right? Basically, right? Well, apparently the relationship went bad, and then she was complaining about men, and she's like, well, every man I've been with, he beating me up and cheating on me, and all this. I said, God, what? If every man that you pick beats you up and cheats on you, might be you, boo. You know what I'm saying? Might be you. So I was trying to tell her, I was like, yo, she's like, so I'm gonna just start dating women now. And I was just like, I say you can go ahead and date women, but you're probably going to draw the kind of woman that is like the men you used to date, because you're going to look for certain characteristics. You're going to pick basically a female version of the dude that you want. The dudes that keep beating you up and cheating on you. Because she said all of her boyfriends, all of her men, every last one of them either beat her up or cheat on her, right? Yeah, her selection game is way off, dog. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But she picks really bad guys. So now all men are bad because of this. And she wants to switch to the other team and go rainbow. And I said, that's fine to go rainbow. I said, but I have neighbors in LA, and I've had several different sets of LGBTQ neighbors, girls and guys. And just like regular people, I'm going to tell you something. My LGBTQ cousins, they some fussing, fighting lovers. And I think it's because they're on the same teams sexually, like there's, whatever the male, female, sexual, gender stuff, whatever you want to call it. They're like the same team technically. So I think there's no fear of two women getting really loud with each other, getting really physical with each other. I can take her. And I think that's what this girl is talking about. She's like, yeah, I can. She wants to get somebody that she thinks she can take, basically. Like, okay, you're going to pick a really strong girlfriend. That's what you're going to do. Bertha going to have you all hand up like, hey, I'm Big Bertha. I'm your new lover now. You mine, girl. You thought you got away from this? So, ladies, gentlemen, treat your people good, man. But I think everybody is what they are. And do your thing. So what time are we? Okay, we got 20 minutes left. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to do another 5-minute video break. And then we're going to come back and do Larry Elder to finish out the show for the last 15 minutes. What's a good temporary video? And my little corny rap song is too short. Let me look something right quick. My little rap song too short to do that right now. I don't feel like putting that on. Want to play it twice, play it more, play it more. We'll play a comedy video, a 5-minute. Let's see if I find a quick 5-minute. Let's see, boom. Let me see if I can find a 5-minute jump. Actually, you know what? We'll play a totally different weird thing. We're going to play a part of an interview from an old radio show we used to have. We had this radio show called Skid Bags Radio and whatnot. And and we had it for like a couple of years. And then, I don't know, they didn't renew our contract because I don't think we were doing good enough numbers. We had really good guests, but we just didn't do no. We had a really good show and whatnot. And then the station like changed and they like built a new station. They kind of put us out. I was like, yeah, we'll bring you back. And then they was like, all right, we got them out the door. Let's go. Right. So this is leftover from our Skid Bags radio show. We had a Dash radio, and this is me and Devin. And it looks like, honestly, this might be Mike Sika over there too. I'm going to turn up the Richmond Jiggy a little bit here. Let me share this bad boy. I'm going to play this for the break, and then we're going to come back and do the noodle of the week.
Yeah. What is that festival process like, Mr. I'm the youngest producer to ever debut 2 features at Sundance in a single year?
Forbes 30 under 30, Eric Fleischman.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you guys all be my publicists? Collectively be my publicist?
Yeah, hype team.
What was the question?
So what is the festival process like? Because you submit, like, once you're accepted in premiering it there for the young filmmaker who's never been to a festival, let's say their film gets accepted.
Sure,
What
sure.
do you expect? Like,
So it's having gone to film festivals without films than with films. You know, you obviously realize how you should only go with films, because it's like you're either a spectator or you're like treated like royalty. It's a real difference. So for like Sundance, you know, we've had films at Sundance and South by and Tribeca. Sundance is my favorite film festival in general, just because it's very small, not in terms of amount of people, but in terms of scope, right? It just exists on Main Street in Park City. It's like a mile. It's like a strip of land in the middle of the fucking like Valley of Death, snow, and everyone is there, right? It's supposed to like South by is in Austin is just the whole city, right? Tribeca in New York is the whole city. TIFF in Toronto is the whole city. It's not like you don't get a sense for like, I could go and walk down the street and go to a play. Sundance, it's just the film festival, right? There's nothing else there besides that. And so, you know, when you have a film in, as soon as you get a film in, you have to immediately hire a publicist, right? You have to hire a publicist for your movie. And the publicist gets to work immediately. You're dealing with logistics with the programmers. You have, you know, 120 people from the film that all want to come, and you only get 30 tickets. So you're dealing with tickets and logistics, and you're dealing with the press for the film, how to strategize it. The sales team is involved in the press as well, because they're trying to give it the best positioning they can. And sort of this, and it's so exciting, and it all accumulates to finally getting there. And it's very much, you know, a producer's job is to produce at the festival. So your job is to organize. I mean, literally, when we were at Sundance, I had to organize everything from every single meal for every single film. Okay, where are we going for dinner this night? This movie's okay tonight. Carnage Park group is going to go to this restaurant at this time, and then from there we have an event for Slut. So like your calendar is just packed. And so during the days of the festival, you know, leading up to the premiere time, you are running around up and down the street with your cast and your filmmaker, going to all these different interviews with the publicist. It's like you're kind of like, you know, almost like you're their publicist. You're watching. You're sitting in the corner. Like, don't say that, or like talk about this. I think this works. Because what's happening is at a film festival, all the buyers are looking at you. They're looking at you, and they're looking at all the other available properties that they can buy, and they're looking at the interviews. They're listening to the radio podcasts. They're watching the TV stuff. They're reading about it in the press. Whatever it is, and it's informing their decisions on will they want to buy your movie and for how much they want to buy your movie for. And so that all accumulates to the premiere. You know, you're trying to pack that house, you know, in Sundance, you know, in the biggest theater, I think it's like 500, 650 people. It's like they're really, really massive theaters. You want to make sure you're sold out, premiere, you know, after the premiere, if all the buyers are there, sprinkled around. And so you need that premiere to have this electric feeling. People need to be applauding, screaming, clapping, whatever. If your premiere falls flat, buyers will walk out. You know, my year, Swiss Army Man was there. And the famous story during the festival was in the first 30 minutes of the movie, most of the buyers left. Like, and that's typical, right? You're a producer sitting in your own theater, and there's 150, 250, 350, 500, 650 people there. You see someone get up, you know that person's a distributor. And you know that movie's not for them. And it's always like, you sit the fuck back down. You sit down in your fucking chair.
Is that why you sit on the top?
You sit in the back, you sit in an aisle so you can see them. You're like, what's up? What's up? Not for you? Not for you? Okay, cool. Yeah. Don't call me ever again.
Have you ever had like a difficult artist, you know, one of your actors that you're working with was kind of like a dick about the whole promotion process or anything that kind of was difficult to work with at all? Sure.
And that's where we're going to end that conversation. The answer is yes. You know who you are.
Hip hop was my first love. When I started in a dance studio, to be on their competition team, you had to take everything. And I refused. I refused. I was like, I only want to take hip hop. So I took hip hop for 3 years. At one point, I was taking all 3 hip hop classes, like the beginner, the intermediate, and advanced. Why?
So we'll pause there for a second. That's 8 minutes. That's a little too long. You know what? We're not going to watch that. We're going to get into our noodle of the week. Let me pull that up here. All right, so we got our noodle of the week. It's going to be Larry Elder. I think I'm going to read a text version of it to avoid fair use. One moment. That's what I'll do, because I don't like the whole holding up the phone and near the mic and all that crap. The audio's all crap. Fuck all that. I'll just read it. My voice sounds astoundingly gorgeous. Club. Let's see here. News about Larry Elder Breakfast Club. What's a good one? Let's pick. Who should we pick? We're going to read Rolling Out's review. Stop. Okay, let me get this up here. Yeah, we'll do Rolling Out as the page will check out. I'm going to give them their credit, even though I don't think I'm going to play a video from them. It's just I want to get in the habit of that. You know, I build while we fly. Struggle streaming. We build while we fly. We build while we fly. All right, where are they at? Boom. All right, so we're going to talk about Larry Elder. I'm going to read some of this. If there's a short video, I'll play it. But basically what recently happened is, I don't got my little news screen. I have a little news screen. Hold up. I have a little news screen. Son. I have a little news screen. I'm big time. I got to do it big time. I got a little news screen. Oh, see now I'm big time news. I'm doing big time news. You don't know nothing about that. You young punks don't know nothing about that. Charlamagne the God cooked on his show. People are killing him. I actually don't think Larry Elder did such a brilliant job. I think he did what all Republican candidates do when they go on the job and they're well prepared. And basically, he was way more well prepared than Charlamagne the God. Charlamagne the God's kind of he ain't the brightest bush in the barrel. That's not even the phrase, but I like the way that sounded. He ain't the brightest bush in the barrel. I'm going to say that twice. Matter of fact, that's my new phrase from now on. Boy, you ain't the brightest bush in the barrel, are you? Whew. Man, your daddy must have bumped his ding-ding on a train before he had you, boy. What kind of sense does that make? It's so stupid. Anyway, let's see what he got to say. Charlamagne the God was cooked on the show by Larry Elder. Elder pounced on Charlamagne about not checking Joe Biden by stating that African Americans are not black if they support Trump. Now, I'm not going to lie. He put his foot way deep in Charlamagne the God's rectoid on this one right here. I mean, woo! They made passionate I'm up in your backside love on that one, boy. Oh, yeah, he got him on that. I give him that. But that was like his only moment. Extreme right-wing black conservative Larry Elder was cooked and charred Charlamagne the God on his morning show, The Breakfast Club, during a discussion about the so-called N-word wake-up call. He asked Elder if he ever had his N-word wake-up call, which he says is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and gets a reminder rather brutally, and with unexpected act of racism. Elder, by the way, is notorious pro-white and even declared that white Southerners deserve reparations more than blacks because the white slave owners wrongfully got their land taken from them. He is reviled by many urbanites for his stances, but on this day, Elder seriously chin-checked Charlamagne for not rebutting President Biden in 2020 when he told him on his show that African Americans are not black if they support Donald Trump. Well, I'm acutely aware, Charlamagne, that I am a black person. That's my Larry Elder voice. Did you guys like it? I think I sounded very pompous. Elder began trouncing. Just as you are a black person, and when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black if you don't vote for me or for Donald Trump. I'm trying my best, Larry Elder Pompous. It seems to me that you have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this man come in here and tell you, a black man, you got to think a certain way. I'm surprised you weren't mad about that. Okay, Larry Elder. Okay, like when I say it in his voice, he kind of did kill it. But that's let me put it like this. He made a great point, but he did something which I call non-answering questions. This is a good reference. Larry Elder, if you watch his interview, Charlamagne the God is going to ask Larry Elder questions, right? And what Larry Elder's not going to do is he's going to acknowledge part of it, which is kind of the way you're supposed to do it. And then when he does, the minute he finishes saying, I acknowledge part of it, but I don't believe in all of it, and then he'll spin off into this 3-minute talk of what I would call a disingenuous example. Now, during this interview, he did this multiple times. This Joe Biden shot he did was his only one where he hit the mark right on the head. Like, there was no escape verbally from this one. Like, it was like, gotcha, Charlamagne. Gotcha, boy. You're like, I got you, boy. I got you, boy. He got him. He got him real good. You know they messed up, right, Charlamagne? You know he effed up, right, Charlamagne? So he had him there. But on the rest of the interview, basically, they broke even because they kind of had stuff to come back. But like I said, Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club guys, they're not really equipped for this level of political conversation, especially with a well-prepared politician. So, for example, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris is on your show. You're probably going to be able to kind of have more of a regular, not fully informed conversation with them where they're going to say there's stuff they don't know or stuff they don't address, stuff like that. But Larry Elder, man, he a robot. I doubt Larry Elder. He might drink, but I doubt Larry Elder smokes or does any drugs or any of that stuff. He works out. He probably eats healthy. He like 98. He look like he 50. So he doing something right. He got that big head though. I don't like that big head. I don't like that no beard thing. I don't trust no black man that don't got a beard. You suspect, boy. Who you play for? Bobby Knight or something at the Indiana Hoosiers or something? What's going on there? Anyway, though, but he's on it and he was prepared. So it's like anything they came at him with, he basically had his acknowledgement point set up, his spin-off disagreement point set up, and then his third thing, which was basically what he really came there to talk about. So if Larry Elder was having a speech, the third thing is the stuff that would have been in his speech if he wasn't there. If he was just talking to the camera with nobody around, the third thing is what he would have said. So when you get asked a question in politics, and this is a lesson for everybody on the noodle game and how to have a real political discussion and actually be successful. And this is what you're dealing with conservatives and also all of my ex-girlfriends use the same strategy. But what they do is they acknowledge a piece of what you said, even though they may be wholly in the wrong and have no defense. Then they'll take the other part that's like really the scathing part of what you said and they'll dismiss it, right? And then before you can kind of jump on that, they're going to kind of talk through whatever you're going to say and they go to their third thing, which is going to be kind of a almost 1 to 3 minute blah, 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 blah. And this person I met back in 1985, da, 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 da. And why are you going to put in this one time, you know, hey, and affirmative action, you know, and that's the whole game. And that's what Larry Elder did to Charlamagne the God. It's noodle stuff, but it's classic conservative debate strategy, which guys that on the internet use, you know, to like Tucker Carlson, a lot of your conservative guys use, as I mentioned, a lot of your ex-girlfriends, and maybe even some of your punk ass ex-boyfriends. As Mr. BAS would say, men are bitches too. So they use this strategy where they never really answer the question or direct it. They basically go away from the question, and then they try to dazzle you with all these words so you forget about the original question and think that you actually got an answer, but they never actually answered the question. They just said everything but an answer to the question. And I don't know, they think they're smart somebody, but it worked on Charlamagne. It worked on Charlamagne. So it must work on a lot of people. That shit does not work on me. This is why, you know, call for president. I think I'll win when I'm like 72. So I think like 30 years from now, I'm actually going to win the presidency. Well, of course, the country will be in tattered and torn in tambles. You people will be eating your neighbors. But hey, if I'm going to be the president, I'm going to be like Terry Crews by that point. I'm going to be like drinking beer while giving a speech. Like, you know, well, the country's done anyway. Oh, now I win. Right? So we got this big chin. Pinch nose troublemaker. But anyway, so that's like, what else they said? So the Joe Biden thing, Elder Clary, Charlamagne, Biden thing, Biden, Charlamagne. Oh wait, here's a clip from it. Let's see. Let's check this out. Here we go, right here. Let's check it out.
Have you ever heard of the term nigga wake up call?
No. It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color.
All right, cool. I don't like playing much from the Breakfast Club because they're crazy. So that's that. I'm not playing any more clips from that. And we're close. Oh, you're only 3 minutes left in the show. So that's it. So that's Larry Elder, our Noodle of the Week. Congratulations to Larry Elder. He did do a good job against Charlamagne, but I also think he did a crap job. And I actually need to get on my Carl for President page and start breaking down these presidential interviews and making my retort to all of these interviews. I don't know why I'm not doing that. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back and watch them. And then I'm going to call it my Breakfast Club. What's it called? A rap battle? Dang, a Breakfast Club or something. Anyway, I'm going to figure out a new presidential thing. It's going to be like retorts to the presidential interviews in the Breakfast Club. And I'll do my response to that. Almost like a response to the State of the Union. Every time I see one of those interviews pop up. That's actually a really good idea. All right, so this was Noodle Free Mondays. We do have a show also on Wednesdays called the My Part of Town podcast, which is basically based about Philadelphia. What's going on in the city, what's going on around the crime, the news, the food, and also what's going on in major cities all around the country. This is the end of Noodle Free Mondays. Also on Saturdays, we have the Bolo and Butthead Tech-a-Palooza. So we'll be seeing what's going on with that too, where we usually have a tech word of the week. I don't know. I don't get any help picking people, so I figured that out 5 minutes before the show, like I always do. So that's how that'll go. And we'll say my final phrase, play my shitty rap song, which I like. I think my song is fucking good. Fuck you guys. But I gotta get some bitches in my videos. Women, ladies, goddesses, queens in my video. I'm sorry about that, ladies. I gotta get some hoes in my video. I'm having too much fun getting out of here, but love is good. Life is better. You better do something that's going to make you last forever. And remember, tomorrow's also always another day for redemption. And we're going to get out of here. We're going to play my little rap video, and then we're going to close the show out. It's Noodle Free Mondays. We in the streets. I don't know. Where's the goddamn button? Let's see what we got going on. Oh, yeah, video file. And then you scroll down and hit this thing and put that.
We do politics over punani. We do education over ecstasy. We do literacy over linguistic ability. N-A-T-U-R-A-L, wanna get it as clean and no plastic everywhere. A natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl. A natural girl, N-A-T-U-R-A-L, wanna get it as clean and no plastic everywhere. A natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl. Hey.
From the skinny to the biggie, ain't no plastic in the body. Keep that trash away from kitty, like my ladies green the way the nature made them. Curly hair the nation, chocolate presentation. We like the ladies, litty flavored basket, Robin skinny waistin'. Don't get it wrong, we even take them yellow, brown, Caucasian. Patron Dr. Umar, ain't no bunny hopping. Too far. The natural queens coming all sizes, dropping stars.
N-A-T-U-R-A-L, wanna get it as clean and no plastic everywhere. A natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl. N-A-T-U-R-A-L, wanna get it as clean and no plastic everywhere. A natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl. It's going down. Black Trump in the house. Body parts soft, clean, jean pillows popping. Tasty water flows, nappy heads steady rocking. Where your man at? Well, I'm here now. All that big chat, it ain't here now. Protection in the building, family beat the drilling. Cooking for the kids and get me piece of bacon dealing. My trusted counsel when I get my piece of bacon buildings. Keep the family diet clean. I need a N-A-T-U-R-A-L, wanna get it as clean and no plastic anywhere. A natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl. N-A-T-U-R-A-L, wanna get it as clean and no plastic everywhere. A natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl, a natural girl. Hey. We do murder over money, and we do righteousness over your activity. I need a